Hello once again, Pokemon Tabletop friends and players. My name is Lance, as usual, as it always is, and today we are going to be doing another class tutorial for PTA 3. As you can see, the Breeder class is the subject of our focus today. Before we get started, just want to, as always, give a quick shout out to all the people in the Pokemon Tabletop Adventures server. There's going to be a link down below in the comments that will get you guys to there if you are new, or if you just stumbled upon these videos. Always happy to have new players or just fans of tabletop RPGs in general pop in. We'll be able to answer your questions there, as well as give you advice if you ever need it. Really great community there. I'm there as well, so if you ever want my opinion specifically, feel free to just at me or hit me up. But yeah, so we're going to get into Breeder today. If you missed the last video, that talked about the Ace Trainer. All of it's going to be in a playlist that is also linked down below in the description. As well will be tagged at the end of this video. So if you want to see all the other ones that I've put out, feel free to click on that playlist and you'll be able to watch all of my PTA 3 tutorials. With that said, we are going to start talking about the Breeder class. Now, before we get started, I do want to just make one quick note. Breeder, I know a lot of people are like, oh, so each class is specifically meant for this area of the game. So obviously that means that no one else can breed, right? No, that's not true. Breeding can happen regardless. That's a whole different thing that's in the handbook. So if you want to check out what that looks like for you, go for it. Feel free to. But Breeder has its own little quirks that can help with breeding, and we're going to go over a few of those, as well as going over the advanced class options, which are less about breeding and more about caring. So, starting off, your favored stats as a breeder are going to be kind of the opposite of Ace Trainer. It's going to be defense and special defense. If that seems a little weird, you'll pick up on it as you look at the skill talents for those two. Obviously not all of these are defense or special defense, but medicine, nature, and Pokemon handling are all special defense oriented, and constitution is defense oriented. So it makes a lot of sense for those two stats to be the stats for this class, especially when you consider the only two that aren't are special attacks. So if you wanted to build a very optimal set, I'd recommend doing 6 in defense, 6 in the special defense, and then I don't know, maybe a 4 in special attack, or maybe a 6, a 5, and then a 4. I don't know. Up to you on that. Like I said, that's probably the optimal build, but I don't build optimal builds. I build what fits the character. Moving on, we are going to look at the level up features that you get as a breeder. And a lot of them are going to be focused on making breeding easier for you, but B, making breeding optimal for you. A lot of the times, breeding will, as a breeder, will make your Pokemon just better, regardless of, oh, this one has a move that isn't supposed to be on that Pokemon. Breeding's gonna make any of its spawn a lot stronger. Any of its spawn. That's a weird way to put that. Any of the Pokemon that you breed, anything that they pop out, any of the eggs, those Pokemon are probably going to be stronger. So Hatcher here makes it faster for you to hatch things. Usually takes a week or two. Not 2, but I've seen 12, I think, is the highest breeding time, or the longest hatching time that I've ever seen. The lowest is 5 days. So 3 days, that's pretty good. It means you get your new Pokemon immediately, pretty quickly. Don't need to worry about that. Natural Edge, you're going to add your modifier to or half your modifier to your breeded Pokemon's stats. Or one of them, at least, of your choice. At some point, you'll be able to choose the nature. You'll be able to have your hatched Pokemon protect you. Breeding will become a lot easier to find eggs when you're looking for eggs. You can manipulate a lot of what you're gonna get when you're breeding Pokemon. There's a lot of minute little things that are a lot easier for breeders to come out on the other side with exactly what they want. You'll also at some point when you get far enough, you'll be able to understand your Pokemon. Not necessarily they're talking to you, but you'll be able to understand what they're trying to convey to you, and that can be huge for roleplay purposes. So that's a really good one. Also, at level 12, you get to ignore egg groups, which is awesome. So yeah, like I said, Breeder has a lot of minute little things that just make it's a lot of quality of life improvements to breeding, in ways that you're not really going to get in most other contexts. Most of the time it's, oh, this was breeded by just a person, cool, this is exactly what you're going to get, with a couple random elements that you have no ability to manipulate. Breeder can manipulate a lot of that and make it come exactly the way, or at least very close to the exact way you would like them to be. In a lot of ways, I think Breeder is a lot stronger than Ace Trainer for Pokemon, for trying to make a strong Pokemon. But if you were to combine the two, it's a terrifying combination, and I fear for your DM. So yeah, if you ever want to just rule the world, I would recommend Breeder and Ace Trainer, as well as another one that we're going to get to in a moment. We're going to move on to the next class, Botanist. Yeah, Botanist, why not? What were you expecting, another breeding thing? No, this is going to be the first sign of breeder subclasses, or advanced classes, excuse me, are less about breeding and more about raising life and helping life continue or prosper. And Botanist even says as much. It's going to help take care of Pokemon, but not necessarily by breeding them and being a parental figure to them. Botanist focuses, as you might imagine, a lot on berries. You'll be able to find berries easier. You'll be able to mix them up a little bit, and I forgot about that. You'll be able to find apricorns. I don't know how it's pronounced. Don't quote me on either of those pronunciations. You're going to be able to grow berries a lot better. If you didn't know, growing berries is a roll 20, a D20 roll 5 days in a row, and then you'll get an amount decided by what you've rolled over the past 5 days. And rolling under a 6 is not a good thing in growing berries. Botanists don't have to straight up don't have to think about rolling under 6. If you roll under a 6, it'll be treated as a 6, which, if you know anything about the growing, it's going to be a really good thing. Those mechanics are also later down in the PHB. We have we have a few other things down here. You'll be able to find specific types of berries that you want to do. You'll be able to use multiple berries in a planter. There's just a lot of berry oriented things, and so if you're focused on maybe you're trying to find a lot of rare berries for Poffins or Pokeblocks, and you wanted to sort of make a lot of berries exactly the way you wanted, this class is going to help you out a lot in that. I at this point I should make it clear, Breeder is a very diverse class. There's a lot of things that you can get out of Breeder and its advanced classes that help the other classes. So I would highly recommend taking at least one Breeder advanced class for your trainer. If you find any, if you're struggling for like a fourth one, I think any of the Breeder advanced classes are really strong, especially depending on what you're doing. So keep that in mind when you're building your characters. Like, if you are struggling with that fourth or third one, advanced class, I absolutely recommend looking through Breeder and its advanced classes, seeing what you can find. That said, we are going to be moving on to the next advanced class, Chef. Chef is a fun one. It's all about making food, as you might imagine, because, you know, that's what chefs do. But it will also be able to use that as bait for food, for wild Pokemon, excuse me. It'll help with the loyalty of Pokemon. It also gives temporary hit points. You can make treats that will have certain effects, removing afflictions, recovering HP, and it only gets better. And yeah, there's a lot of like really cool things. At some point, you can just make the leftovers item, which is pretty strong. Of course, leftovers in PTA is destroyed, so if you're used to the games where it's just like never ending, don't get used to that. That is not something that happens in PTA. You can kind of see right there, leftovers is destroyed, so don't expect anything like that. But yeah, it's a lot of caring for your Pokemon, raising loyalty, helping them with their HP or their afflictions, and it's just generally a pretty not diverse, but it's not a diverse class in terms of what you do with it. More, it's diverse in application. You could be making food for any number of reasons, and most of the time it's going to make some amount of sense. I know this one felt really quick, but there's not a whole lot to Chef. Like, it's very self-explanatory. You're going to make food. It's going to help your Pokemon in certain ways, and it's going to get better as you go on. That's about it. Unlike the next class, though, Evolver. Basically, you are not just like focusing on Mega Evolution, but you're also able to do things like ignoring elemental stone evolutions. You could just use whatever stones you want on those Pokemon. You could also make an Everstone, I'm pretty sure. That's somewhere in there. You can have evolution occur way faster. You can even make your own Megastones and Keystones. And though I will say, the making your own Megastones, before you start freaking out and going, oh, I can finally like make Mega Flygon and make that as strong as Garchomp ever was. That's not quite right. The Mega Stonesmith ability gives you 4 extra points to your Pokemon without allowing them to negatively affect Mega Evolution, or negatively affect stats in Mega Evolution. What that means is that these Megastones are going to be a lot weaker than the organic Megastones in PHB2. Keep that in mind. We're going to move down here just to look at a few of the other things. You can choose the types of your Mega Evolutions. You can Mega Evolve multiple times a day, which isn't typical. That's usually a once per day thing. You're going to also be able to raise stats permanently on Pokemon that you've evolved. Not Mega Evolve, just evolves, period. That's a really good one. And you can use Mega Stones on not fully evolved ones. Like, it uses the Mega Blaziken example. your Torchic or Combuskin can use the Blazikenite to turn into Mega Blaziken. That's really cool. I I don't know about you guys, but I think that's really cool. You can also have your Pokemon. They basically have slide evolution. You can turn Marowak into a Alolan Marowak, Berserker into a Persian, Poliwrath, Politoed. That's a really cool little thing that they have. Yeah. With that said, I think Evolver is a really good one as well. I'm going to say that about every single breeder class. I think breeder subclassing is really good. Which is why we're going to go to the next one, which is Medic. So we've got some pretty obvious ones. They're going to be able to heal. They're going to be able to deal with afflictions. It'll be able to give them temporary hit points. If you go further down, you'll be able to basically be a walking ether, which is pretty good, especially if you have a lot of battles to get through in one day. You just want to blizzard a bunch of Pokemon. Use that. You'll be able to use Blizzard a few times a day now. Yeah, Medic is, again, pretty simple, but it's really solid. A lot of healing Pokemon, a lot of doing what you probably want to do. In my mind, Medic is probably the weakest of the breeders' advanced classes, but I don't think it's bad. And I think breeder is one of the best classes and subclasses in total, because they're just very applicable to basically any situation, any game. And that's only going to continue going into the final advanced class, I believe, Move Tutor. Now, Move Tutor is exactly what it sounds like. You can tutor moves to Pokemon, but it's not just, I'm going to tutor any move I want. No, it's not quite that simple. So you can reteach moves to Pokemon. You can give them passives. That's a pretty solid one that I don't see people talk about all that much. That could turn a modifier up one, and you never know when that one more damage is going to be what you need. You're going to be able to raise stats. You're going to be able to teach very basic type moves. They have a list of moves here. Some of them are moves that you'll recognize from the games. Others are made to sort of supply something simple for this feature. And they're all pretty, they're all going to be 12 damage on a crit, plus whatever modifiers. So they're not the best, but they will do in a pinch, so not a bad thing to have access to. If you teach anything with TMs as a move tutor, then you're going to be able to continue to teach that move after the TM or TR is finished. Still has to work with the proficiencies of the Pokemon, but eventually, I think it's a capstone ability of this class. You can ignore proficiencies, which is absolutely terrifying. Vocation tutoring. This is basically a stronger version of what you have up here, but with stronger attacks. I think most of these are actually real attacks in the games. I don't see any that are different. They're all going to be moves that are 3 a day, do 3 D10 or D8 damage, and all of them have a special effect that'll activate. And it's a solid way of getting good damage output on all of your Pokemon. I would recommend definitely taking a look through this list. If you have a Move Tutor in your party, see what they can offer you, see what you can ask them for. It's a pretty solid list, so I definitely would recommend looking through this list if you have one. Going down, you are able to teach the all the terrain moves, including moves that aren't named terrain, but are like create a terrain like area. You'll also be able to use the room moves as well as the weather moves. This one can be really fun for people who might have a team that benefits a lot from like a specific condition. Like maybe you have a lot of earthquake users. Gravity is going to be your best friend with that. So keep that in mind. Finally, we have destructive tutoring, which is the same as the other ones, but with once a day moves, which means they're usually going to be 5d20 or 5d12. 5d20 are very rare. It's going to be Giga Impact, and I think Hyper Beam are the only two in the game that do that. But it's going to be a lot of damage. By the end of it, you're going to be able to teach moves to anyone and teach any move you've ever seen. There's a lot you can glean from having a Move Tutor on your party. Definitely think it's one of the strongest advanced classes in the game. And Breeder in general is just really solid. So if you're struggling on what you want your final class to be, I definitely take a look through Breeder, see what advanced classes there might be that might fit your character. But that's a pretty basic rundown of everything. I don't think there's anything left for me to talk about. So once again, thank you all for watching. Hope this helps you figure out what you want to do if you're thinking about going Breeder. Hope this either nudged you towards it because you like it more, or if you decide, this isn't really my thing, hope it cleared things up for you. Again, my name's Lance. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day.